This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week. So this morning on Rutland Radio, we're talking about isolation and loneliness, I guess, when you're a mum. And the mum I know best is my wife, who's here now. Let's Talk Lonely is a national campaign, and you've put it into the area here.
I feel quite strongly that new mums, even though they can be surrounded by a huge support network, I'm very lucky that I have my family close by and obviously yourself, but sometimes it is lonely. Sometimes you go to groups because you just want to speak to someone that's not going to need their nappy changing. And sometimes those groups don't have that time. It's just talking, having 5-10 minutes of a group session where you are literally able to talk to someone and just say, look, do you fancy going for a coffee somewhere? It's an opportunity to talk to someone. And also in soft play cafe areas, having a little table set aside that's just for chatting. If you want to go and sit there, it's a bit like school really. If it's like a lonely bench, isn't it? If you see someone over there, you know they actually want to talk to someone, and instead of doing the whole awkwardness, you can just go and sit down and, I don't know, buy them a drink or just chat. Because it is lonely being a parent. Even when you're surrounded by people, you can have moments of isolation, most definitely. So it's getting a campaign out there, telling people, here I am, I need a bit of talk. And also as a new mum, it's hugely, I personally was hugely underconfident going out. Even just leaving the house was a massive effort. So applause to everyone that gets out and about. And then when you are about, you don't want to sit there. Unfortunately, some of my friends have had problems in different groups where they've just felt really lonely, and because other people know each other. But then equally, I've been in a group where everybody's known each other and it's been wonderful, and there have been opportunities to talk. I know the groups that Florence and I went to, they did have... We actually went to one specifically because it had 5-10 minutes at the end, which was talk time. And luckily that was incorporated in other ones that we went to as well. But it's still hard, even in the talk time, to actually just chat to someone without them thinking you're a bit odd. But yeah, it's just, it's hard, this motherhood business. And it's just giving people the opportunity to talk.
So since you've been connecting with other mums on social media, which I know you've done ever since Florence was born, really, you know, for everyone in the same boat.
Yes.
You've now actually seen signs going up in cafes and play areas actually saying, look, this is the table you can sit on if you want to have a chat.
I know, literally within minutes of me posting something on the fantastic Stamford Mummies group that Victoria Fallow Norton set up. Thank you very much, Vicky. It's been a lifesaver. Literally, one of the mums on there runs a local soft play area, the Yard, and she saw that, took it on board, and within an hour or two had already put a little table aside with a lovely polite notice with saying, we're always warm and welcoming you here, but this is for if you'd like to chat and you haven't come with someone, and hashtag Let's Talk Lonely, basically.
So it's all really about the fact that a lot of the time it looks like you're in the zone, you're there with your child.
You think you know what you're doing. You don't. No one has a clue. And you just want someone to say, don't worry, it's all quite normal. But yes, you just want to know that you're not alone, and that everything that's happening, you're not alone in that. Because it's, you know, social media, you see the best bits of everyone. Oh, wow, they're doing this and they're doing that. How on earth are they managing that? I can't even leave the house. How are they going out and doing this, that, the other? Equally, there's the flip side where they are going out because they'll go stir crazy if they stay in. So, you know, all these people that do go out and do things. But it's when you are out, just if you're on your own, you know that you're not on your own.
And sometimes it's easy to look across to another table and see another mum who's on their phone, and you think they have to be on their phone, but they might just be on their phone because they want to talk to someone.
Oh, they're just shy. Or I know I've sat there before just thinking, what am I doing? What am I doing? And it's easy to look at your phone because then you feel like you're not. What do? You just look around. You look a bit odd. But if there's somewhere designated next to, somewhere designated with a table with just a little sign saying, "Come and sit here if you're in the mood for chatting," it makes a huge difference. And so many people have felt like this. As soon as they put it out there on, there's an Oakham Mums group and an Uppingham Mummies group as well, and it's for all parents. That's just its name. As soon as I did that, there was so much support saying this is such a good idea. And, I think we've all felt like that. And we just, it's just somewhere to go, knowing that you're not going to sit there on your own and have to use a phone as your companion. And there are other places apart from the Yard that are going to implement this soon. I know there's a place in Bourne that does it already. And I know Playtown in... I know the Playtown in Essendine thinking of doing something as well. Charlene's been in touch too. So thank you to everybody that's done something. And if you haven't done something, please just try and get a little table somewhere that just means the world to a mum or a dad or a carer that they can just go and sit and know that they can talk to someone.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio Podcast.
It's Rutland Radio breakfast time. I'm Rob Pisani. You may be aware that my face and others from the Rutland Radio team have been part of the For Rutland preview of what's to come in just a couple of weeks now. First of all, it's the men's clothes sale. Trish Ruddle is back with us. Now, you do a separate event for the men, don't you, each year at Pillings Road rather than Barnsdale Lodge?
Yes, we decided a few years ago that it would be much better to have like a men-only sale and let the men shop without the aggravation of maybe their wives with them, so that they could just centre on buying clothes themselves. It's a much more low-key affair at Pillings Road, and it's proved very successful.
So it's dinner jackets. I know you've had ski wear in the past as well.
Yes, perhaps not so much ski wear this year. We have the normal dinner suits, Rob, and we always push that because if you think about it, you only wear it a few times a year, don't you? So we rather feel that it's a good opportunity to buy that dinner jacket at a bargain price, a good quality suit, wear it a few times, and don't forget at the same time you're supporting a local charity by buying it at the Good and New men's clothes sale.
And you literally can get kitted up with a whole outfit and more if you go along.
Absolutely. We've got outdoor clothing, a lot of country clothing. Obviously, being in Rutland, we seem to get an awful lot of very good quality clothes donated to us specific for country wear. We have some shooting suits this year, some really good quality ones. And we have a lot of jackets and lots of trousers, ranging from the chinos, the corduroys, to the more formal trousers.
So it really is something not to be missed, but it's only for 2 days.
Yes, we only do this at on Friday evening, the 22nd of February, from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock, and then again on the Saturday morning, the 23rd of February, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at 33 Pillings Road. But, Rob, all these clothes then go over to Barnsdale Lodge for the following weekend when we have the big Good and New clothes sale. So this is really the opportunity for the men to shop for themselves, but the clothes will still what's left. And there's masses of men's clothes, I can assure you. And then they go to Barnsdale Lodge when you can have a second bite if you want.
But obviously going to the men's only sale means that you get the pick of the sizes, the pick of the styles, and you get the best selection.
Absolutely, and entry is free at Pillings Road. You can still pay by credit card, cash or cheque. The one thing you do miss out on, of course, is the champagne and canapes from Hambleton Hall that you get on the Friday night at Barnsdale Lodge. But as I said, it's a much more of a low-key affair. It's trying to tempt those shy shoppers.
And the typical man's psyche, I think, is go in, get it, get out. You know, they're that sort of shopper, typically.
Yes, I totally agree. The ladies who do the men's section really know their stock incredibly well. Christine Williams has been doing it for a number of years and comes from a very good pedigree from a local, very successful tailor in our area. And she knows her stock. So, she can almost be your personal shopper.
And she was for me, actually, just when we did the For Rutland shoot, which I'll be donating to. But yeah, it's so true. She really does, doesn't she?
Well,
and she can put outfits together and all sorts.
She is very, very good, and you did a wonderful job of modelling for us. And as a thank you, I've brought along the stunning blue Ralph Lauren jumper that you modelled for us as a present to say thank you.
Well, I can't possibly accept it quite as a present, but I will donate to your amazing cause. And Trish Ruddle, thank you so much for that. Really appreciate you coming in. So the details on our website: the men's clothes sale Friday evening the 22nd of February from 5 till 8, and the Saturday morning the following day the 23rd 9 until 1 at Pillings Road in Oakham. Then the following weekend is the big sale at Barnsdale Lodge, which we'll talk more about nearer the time.
Rutland Radio.
Just always trust yourself. You know your child better than anyone. If you don't think they're right, ask again. Know the signs of sepsis, the signs and symptoms, especially not having a wet nappy. The Sepsis Trust advise that infants under 1, if they have a temperature, vomiting and low urine output, those are the 3 main things to look out for. And Peggy had all 3 of those, and had I known the signs, I might have asked the question, could this be sepsis? She might have had treatment sooner, and we might have spared her that traumatic experience, and us as parents that frightening experience.
How many weeks on are we?
Well, she was admitted on the 12th. Goodness me, being a mum of twins, I don't even know what day it is. A couple of weeks-ish. But she's much better. She was a little bit poorly not long after coming home from hospital, and I ended up at out-of-hours GP and was told she had viral tonsillitis. But other than that, she's been really well, and comparing her to that day, she's 100%. She was definitely one of the lucky ones.
And that is it, isn't it? I mean, against the clock, not knowing what's wrong with her. If she hadn't had medical intervention, you wouldn't be holding her now.
No, exactly. She was so lucky, and I'm so grateful that I kept her with me that night. That would be another message for mums. Trust your instincts. If you don't think your child is right, even if you're sent home twice, 3 times, 4 times, keep that child with you. Take an extra look on them. Turn the light on. Check the colour of them. You don't want to wake your baby up, but check, look at your child and trust yourself. I think mums, we have a built-in instinct, sets alarm bells ringing if we know they're out of sorts. And I'm just grateful I kept her with me that night, because, like I say, if she'd been in her cot, I wouldn't have known. And that really is the frightening thing.
And since then, you've been talking to the Sepsis Trust as well.
Yes.
About really raising awareness. You've been on national TV doing that as well.
Yes, I did a awareness piece with ITV, and I'm glad to be a part of that. I want to help other mums be heard, and I hope that by raising awareness of sepsis and sepsis signs and symptoms, that we might save lives and encourage mums to ask that question, could this be sepsis?
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
Nigel Sudburn, I'm the president of the Royal British Legion in Oakham.
Now, we were saying a few moments ago, the centenary of World War I was likely to be a year where the British Legion were at the forefront of so many people's thoughts, but to have such a project in Rutland and to raise that huge amount of money is just something that we'll probably never ever see in our lifetime again.
Well, I hope we might see it in our lifetime again, Rob, but I know exactly what you mean. And I think the significant thing is £21,000 that's raised through the sale of those poppies. That's what we usually raise in a year. So thinking about over £40,000 total, we've had a really, really good year, and so's everybody that contributed. And you've seen the children today and the enthusiasm that they've had in producing them. Every single primary school.
And from a British Legion point of view, how you must have known for quite some months that this project, shaped through the whole of the year, was hoping to benefit you.
Well, it was indeed, but it was more than anything else. I think it was benefiting the people that produced them, because it made them aware of their families, particularly, what the contributions were to go to, and so there's a whole sort of circle of it.
And now, since last Wednesday, as you're now a Deputy Lord Lieutenant as well, with special responsibility to liaising with the military in Rutland and taking that work further.
Well, indeed, and we're very lucky that we've got a poppy officer in the form of Gwyn Andrews, and she often goes up to Cottesmore and other of the military establishments. And I'm hoping that we will get much needed grants into the system through the British Legion in the future.
Because that money, that well over £40,000 that's been raised by people in Rutland, that all goes to the central fund, and basically we have to justify reasons for it to come back into Rutland.
Well, of course, we can't just hang on to it without cause, but I'm hoping that we'll be able to get greater focus on both the men's committee and the women's committee in the future to help people and to help organisations who need the money.
I'm Vicky Goddard and I'm the coordinator for the Rutland Poppy Project. And
we've had so many celebrations as part of this. Right, just waiting for that. We've had so many events marked as a result of the Poppy Project, from the unveiling of the amazing display at Oakham Castle to the close of Remembrance. And here we are in the Catless College field, still seeing the Tommy, the horseshoe, some of the poppies, and you must still feel quite amazed by the way that the Rutland took this project on.
Well, absolutely. The day that we all set about selling the poppies at the castle, we couldn't believe that we raised £10,000, but the money just kept pouring in, and even within the last week we've had further donations, so it's been incredible. But it just shows what a generous and giving community that we're part of, and just thank you to everybody that's got involved and backed us all the way with it.
And everyone wanted to make one. Everyone wanted to have a piece of this.
Well, that's right. We wanted to start off quite slowly and see how things went, because had no idea how the practicalities of the project would work. But it just snowballed so quickly. Thanks to yourselves at the radio and social media and so on, word got around, and every time we held a workshop, there were just so many people wanting to be involved, and a lot of them came back time after time because they enjoyed the experience so much, so it was great.
And although so many people in the county now have a piece of that, they can still get a poppy now. There are still some available. They can go to the castle.
Well, they have actually been taken off sale now, but they will be back again leading up to Remembrance Day this year, and at various events that the British Legion will be running. Unfortunately, it wasn't practical for places like the castle to have to hang on to them, indefinitely. So that's how we've arranged it.
So when we come to Remembrance this year, as well as the normal standard poppies, as it were, that the people buy each year, they could buy a clay poppy if they haven't got one already.
Yes, I'd like to think so. The British Legion will be arranging the sale of them this coming year, so that should be fine.
And how are you after this whole experience and looking back on it? Because it must have been one overwhelming year for you.
It was incredible, and I'll always look back on it really fondly, and it was a great experience, met so many incredible people, and so many people joined in with it, and it was unforgettable, really.
Ellen,
Lauren,
India,
Poppy,
Ruth.
Can you believe that this whole year that you've had this involvement? Well, let's first ask about your involvement in the Poppy Project as students here.
So we started by making the poppies, then we went on to painting them.
So as a college, you must have made hundreds, I guess.
We've made thousands here. We've had an elective doing it, and after schools we've done making the poppies.
How does it make you feel, kind of looking back on it now and actually still seeing the display here in the field, and people are still talking about it, and I guess they will for a long time to come?
It makes us all feel quite proud and in a community together, because we've all achieved this together.
As far as arranging the display and stuff, did you have any more involvement when it came to that?
As Lauren said, we had an elective, and in that elective there was kind of a competition to draw out what the poppies would become.
So whose design was it in the end? I think it was a combination, wasn't it, of a few different designs?
Yeah, it was quite a few different people's compositions, and the horseshoes and the waterfall of poppies were different people's.
And looking back on the whole thing now, you've still got this reminder here, but this is something that Rutland's never going to forget.
No, definitely not. It's we remembered forever.
Rutland Radio.
I'm the director, Diana DeVitt, the director of Rutland Acapella singers and Rutland Rejuvenating singers.
Now, we've talked about the Rejuvenating singers before, but just tell us who that choir particularly is aimed at.
Well, the Rutland Rejuvenating Singers, it gathers together on a Tuesday afternoon, so possibly the more elderly people of the area, those who are able to get off work if they are still busy.
And there's no kind of entry requirement for this at all. It's all about getting a community together to sing.
Absolutely, Rob. No additions whatsoever. And I just place any voice correctly and we all get along and have a lot of fun.
What kind of things do the Rejuvenating Singers typically sing?
We have a vast repertoire, very eclectic music, and we take various themes into the residential care homes around the counties.
And your other project, the Rutland Acapella Singers, you're branching out into one of the villages. You've picked Whissendine because you think this is a good place to kind of focus it, really.
Yes, they seem to be a group of very musical people, and we would like to radiate outwards and capture as many people as we can from the surrounding villages.
So it all starts on the 25th of February, and you've got a room set aside at the White Lion in Whissendine, actually, where you'll be meeting.
Yes, that is correct.
And what are you looking to do with that? Rutland Acapella Singers, obviously, that means that you'll be conducting rather than playing at the same time. But other than that, a pretty wide repertoire of stuff you're looking to work on?
Pop songs, gospel, musicals, whatever anybody wants. We have lovely, lovely songs.
And I know a lot of your choirs as well, you've performed for charity, you've raised money for all sorts of good local causes as well as part of that. You see this as very much a community thing.
Yes, definitely. And whatever we do, we can take out there and help people where we can.
Is there a central place, I mean, we've got the information here, but is there a central place people can find out all the details of what we've spoken about today?
Well, hopefully the Rutland Radio Network.
That's fine. We'll pop it on our website. Is that the best place?
That sounds good. Good advertising. Thank you, Rob.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
Well, usually for hole nesting birds, I put them about 6 to 8 feet off the ground on a fence or a wall. The fence and the wall has to have no vegetation because the blue tits like to have free access and also look out of the hole to make sure there's no predators about. And also away from cats, which are very, very annoying.
But it is something actually that anyone can do, and they really do need our help, I guess.
Well, the idea of the National Nest Box Week is to encourage everyone to put up a nest box because holes in trees and old buildings are disappearing as people tidy up their gardens and also as old buildings are repaired. And when putting up a nest box, basically keep it out of the sun in a shaded area, and I always put mine with the hole facing to the north, which guarantees that it's not going to get roasted by the sunshine.
And the size of the hole is really important, isn't it, depending on the kind of bird you're looking to attract?
For blue tits and great tits, I always use a 2p coin, which is ideal, sort of 1 1/4 inches in old money. Say 2-inch holes for things like starlings, but starlings aren't a problem. I prefer doing it for great tits and blue tits because you get a much better view of them, and it's absolutely wonderful just watching them build the nest and rear the young, going in and out with little bits of caterpillar, etc.
And it's this time of year when they're looking for a nest, they're looking for a nest box, and they will use it if it's in the right place.
Yes, people will probably, when they wake up in the morning, they'll get the dawn chorus now because this is when the male birds are establishing their territories, and the pigeons will be cooing, and the great tits especially, they'll be very, very loud, and the blue tits are not quite so loud, but the males are establishing their own territory, trying to attack a female.
Rutland Radio.
My name is Caroline Garnett-Clark, and I'm the manager here at Scallywags.
And what a week you've had since obviously what happened last Saturday.
Yes, very much so. It's been pretty full on, full of lots of men in suits and builders. assessing the fire damage and really sort of trying to help us get back to normality.
So you were walking past it and you saw the smoke and raised the alarm?
Saw the smoke at the end of Card Overton Road and just walked up to make sure it was nothing serious, and got to the gates at Scallywags and saw the back of the building on fire, and just went from there. Rang them, me and the chap that works at the Martins shop on Card Overton Road, and fire brigade turned up within sort of 3 minutes, and it was all sorted from there. It just wasn't what you was expecting after a night out.
You were out late on Friday night.
Yeah. House party and then in town and then just wandering home.
Got to work about 4:30 and seeing the whole street was just full of smoke. There was just smoke everywhere. People just walking past, no care in the world. Followed where the smoke was. You could see the flames coming over the top of the actual nursery itself. And a woman said there might be a cleaner in there. So at the time, me and my mate, who is also, Luke, jumped over the gate, on the phone to 999, told them there might be someone in there. So we've both nearly gone into the building. The flames coming out the window. Thankfully there was no one in there, and most of the kids' stuff isn't actually destroyed. My first instincts were just go straight in that door. If I heard someone scream, I would have gone straight in that door.
The fire was right at the back at the extension, and I guess you were very lucky that it didn't spread any further because of the early intervention.
Yes, we were. It was very fortunate indeed. They got the fire under control very quickly.
And I know you've had an overwhelming response this week from people who know you, who know what happened and who care about what happens here.
Absolutely. Parents, we've managed to locate our preschool into another facility, and the booking people there were absolutely amazing, Pam Gilbert in particular. It's just meant that we can offer a normal day for our children rather than having to close and parents having to run around looking for alternative provision. So it's been really helpful, and everyone has just been quite overwhelming, really.
And I guess that's it, isn't it? You're a lifeline to working parents.
Absolutely.
In Maine.
Yes, our parents, they work full time, they work very hard, many of them from 7:30 in the morning till 6 in the evening. So having to find childcare at the last minute for those sort of hours can be quite difficult.
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk. This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week.
Camille Ortega-McLean, and I'm the founder of the Pickled Village and Bullock Village shop.
And since the early part of this century, you've had this shop not only as a village shop, but also this has been your base to kind of export nationally as well, your product.
It's my baby. June 2005 I started. Launched in London in 2008. The Pickled Village was born, and the rest is history.
And Tuesday night, a chimney fire ended up devastating this completely and devastating everything that you have, really.
Breaking our hearts, not only me, but the whole village, the whole community, and they've been amazing.
I know they've set up a GoFundMe page to help, and so many people just want to actually reach out to you, and in the way that maybe you reached out to them as the centre of the community.
Well, I never realised how much I was loved until now. The whole community, all the villagers around, they've been awesome, offering help, accommodation, everything. And the GoFundMe page they did took me by surprise, and it's very embarrassing, but very much appreciated.
So what happens from now? I guess everything's being assessed, and then you work out a plan of where to go from here?
Yes, everything has been assessed, and it's going to be cleared, big clearance next week, throwing things into the skip and clearing up, and then rebuilding and restoring and upwards and onwards. Nobody was hurt, so we can rebuild.
And that's the way I know you're looking at it.
Yep, positive attitude. From everything that's negative comes a positive. And we will be bigger and stronger and lovelier.
And still in Bullock?
Absolutely still in Bullock, the home of the Pickled Village, absolutely.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
Yeah, my name's Neil Walsh. I'm an instructor at HMP Stockton, where I teach prisoners how to strip and reassemble bikes, part of the city and guilds.
Now, this whole project, with 60 bikes have been worked on today, and nearly 300 actually since the scheme started. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Sally got in touch with me through the because we take the bikes from the refuse site. So she got in touch with me and we set this up. Initially she wanted 16 bikes every 3 months, and it just escalated and escalated till we're at the position we are now, aren't we?
Yeah. So whereabouts do these bikes go then? Where are they placed?
We've got some storage with the council, but we've, at the end of today, we've had a few bikes that have not gone out, but we should have had, since the launch of the project, which was in June 17, we'll have had 280 bikes go out to members of the community, which is fantastic.
And this is basically just people who otherwise wouldn't necessarily be able to afford a bike at its full cost?
Absolutely. We've had them go out for all sorts of reasons, but the main thing is that people can get onto two wheels, they can become independent, they're empowered, and they're outside, they're doing an activity, and it's just fantastic. We have whole families, individuals. It's just been the most fantastic project. We've been very, very successful, and I say we've because it's the partnerships that this project has created which make this project as successful as it has been. We have won a National Sustainable Travel Award, which I think is absolutely to everybody. The guys who work on the bikes at the prison, the guys who run the workshops, to all the partnerships within the council, the guys here at the fire station, the police, everybody is involved that make this project possible.
What sort of stuff do you have to do to the bikes typically, Neil? What sort of state are they in?
Typically, they've been left outside for 6 months where they've been neglected, and then they get taken to a tip where they're left outside even more. They come into the workshop and they're completely stripped down to every single component part. Even the wheels are stripped down, all the spokes are taken out and completely rebuilt. Everything then is replaced what needs replacing, and then put back together again, and then safety checked about 3 or 4 times before it actually leaves the prison and comes to you.
That's right. We've had support also from local businesses as well. Rutland Cycling, they've been fantastic. They've actually supplied us with their trade-in bikes and spare parts, which we're hoping is going to happen again this year. Halfords and also Rutland Cycling have supplied us free of charge child seats when we've had whole families coming to get bikes. They've offered us these seats.
And can people apply then? Can people actually just literally contact the council saying, I could really do with a bike, and you've got this stock of them?
Yeah, and they speak to me and I see what I can do for them. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, please do.
Excellent. I just have your name as well.
Yeah, I'm Sally Redmond Davies. I'm Sustainable Transport Officer at Rutland County Council.
Lovely, thanks very much for joining us on Rutland Radio.
Thank you.
Rutland Radio.
Well, Mr. Taylor's told me a lot about it, but I don't know that much. But I was quite surprised when I won.
So what have you tried to incorporate there, if you kind of talk us around your design?
So I've tried to incorporate the Navy, the Air Force and the military. And then all the boats and aeroplane and vehicles that are on land.
And there's the map of the world there, so I guess it shows, the operations and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so it means global.
So there's one really big occasion coming up next weekend. You'll be actually walking with your design at Peterborough Cathedral.
Yes.
How about that?
I'm actually very excited for it.
Do you have military connections and stuff being here at the school?
Well, my dad used to be in the army for 12 years, and I think a few months ago he left the army. So he can go to the veteran club now.
Mark, could I chat to you as well? Is that okay? Having this design, I guess it's great engagement for you, getting the school involved and getting, the military school involved here in Rutland.
Absolutely. It's not just about the serving or the veteran community, it's about the wider family group, and that includes all the children. And what a great initiative. The response and the feedback and the quality of the work was absolutely superb. Just getting the kids involved, it just means everything to us as a group.
And the Armed Forces and Veterans Breakfast Club is going to be more than breakfast soon. How much can you tell us about that?
Well, there's a lot of things in the pipeline, nothing confirmed, but we're looking at, maybe opening up another breakfast club in the Rutland area to kind of canvass a wider group. We've had lots of responses about how positive it is and about engaging the wider community. We're looking at maybe a befriending service and possibly a walking club and lots of other little initiatives that can get the veteran community and the serving community and their families engaged with the group.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio Podcast.
Yeah, it is. It's came second last year behind Aaron. So yeah, it's good to win today.
Aaron obviously not here today, but I mean, it's not bad running weather really, today. I mean, a bit of a breeze, but other than that...
Yeah, pretty good conditions to be honest with you. There's a bit of wind at certain parts of the course. But yeah, I started off quite well. Struggled at the end there with a little bit of an injury, but yeah, I'm glad I managed to hold on and get the win really. So yeah.
Great conditions today. It was a little bit tough going back through Tolthorpe the second time. It was quite mentally tough, but the aim today was to run sub 2, and yeah, just managed to do it 1:57.53. So yeah, really over the moon with that.
I think last year I did it in about 2:15, and this year I did it in 2:03. So
what's next for you after this? The rest of your running year.
So I'm running London Marathon in April. So this is like a training race for that. I'm also doing the big half in March as well. So yeah, lots of things coming up. But I love this event. I'll come back every year for it, even though I've moved away.
Rutland Radio.
Good morning.
Good morning. Just thought I'd check in with you as we haven't spoken for a while. How are things in your world?
Very well.
Good.
Very well. Spring is coming.
Yes, absolutely. The daffodils are already here, aren't they, as well as the snowdrops?
And the primroses are out in my garden, and it's lovely. What about the race yesterday? Wasn't it fantastic?
It is amazing. I think it's harder than a marathon, even though it's shorter because of all those hills towards Ryle. The Strider's 30k, yeah.
Yes, brilliant. I think it's positive for the town. I couldn't, mind you, I sat on the bed watching. I'm lazy, but and I sat watching them come back. And even though really they were struggling, they still completed it.
Dancing on ice, are you still enjoying it?
Oh, I love it. I mean, Gemma's gone and there was a lot of nastiness, but she was what she was, a talking point.
Yeah. And
now it's a proper competition, isn't it?
Yeah, I know what you mean. You need those characters, though, in the early stages, don't you?
Yes, I think so, just to get people gripped. It's like your mystery voice. I would never, ever have guessed it was him.
Robbie Williams. No, I know what you mean.
I couldn't believe it. But that's what makes it interesting. And when I get back to work next week, we pick each other's brains, the customers and us. So I'll see who says the most for the next one.
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website, rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk.